Hello students, in this video we will see components of computers and types of memory. Memory is a device that is used to store data and instruction in computer. There are mainly two types of memory in computers, primary memory and secondary memory. What is primary memory? It is also called main memory. It is fast, temporary as well as permanent, and it resides closer to CPU. So it is directly accessible by this CPU. Like RAM and ROM are the two types of this primary memory. So the main quality or main feature of this primary memory is that it resides closer to CPU. That's why it is fast. Second type of memory is secondary memory. Secondary memory, it is also known as storage, and it is slower because it is placed at a distance from your CPU. It is larger and permanent. So for the large storage of data it is used for long-term data storage also, like hard disk devices and SSDs. Now we will see the different types of primary memory. There are two types of primary memory. One of them is random access memory and another is read-only memory. So this first memory is RAM, is volatile memory. It loses its data when power is off, and it is a high-speed memory, and it is used for storing the data and instruction when that the CPU is currently processing. So this RAM is used when the current process is going on. ROM is, now we will see the different types of RAM again. So static RAM and dynamic RAM. RAM is again divided into these two types. What is this static RAM? This is fast and expensive, and it stores data using flip-flop circuit. So you have to remember this element. Flip-flop is used for storing the data in static RAM, and it keeps data there until power is supplied. It does not require constant refreshing like dynamic RAM. In dynamic RAM, there is, instead of this flip-flop, capacitors are used, and they require constant refreshing. So again and again data needs to be refreshed in case of dynamic RAM. So here we can see that features of static RAM are: it is faster, it consumes less power, it is more reliable due to stable structure. So stability is there, but it is expensive, and capacity is lower as compared to dynamic RAM. So we can say it is a quality type of but costly RAM. So here uses of RAM are, it is mainly used in cache memory or registers in CPU. So these are the two uses of RAM. I have not written here, but the main use of this static RAM is in cache, that is L1, L2 and L3 type of cache, and registers in CPU are made up of this static RAM. Now we come to the second type of RAM, that is dynamic RAM. It is slower but high capacity, or you can say if you need a memory in lot of in a much quantity, then you will go for this dynamic RAM. So dynamic RAM stores data using capacitors, which needs continuously refreshing to retain the information. So the features of dynamic RAM are, it is cheaper. That's why a large quantity of this can be used for storing the large amount of data. Higher storage capacity, commonly used as the main memory. So our main memory is mainly made up of this dynamic RAM. It is slower than static RAM. It requires constant refreshing. So we can say that performance of this dynamic RAM can be degraded, but it is not as much costly as our static RAM is. So we can afford this dynamic RAM for large storage of data. And its main uses are, it is used as main memory for storing data and instructions, and used in older computers also. Now we come to the next type of memory, that is read-only memory. It is known as ROM. It is a type of non-volatile memory that is used to store permanent data, often firmware or software in computer system. And it is non-volatile, that means it keeps its data even when power is off, and it stores essential instructions like BIOS or firmware, which is required for the starting of any computer. So it is again an important memory. There are different types of ROM. First one is mass ROM. It hardwired during manufacturing. So their connections are using this hardwired, used in early calculators and embedded systems. The next type of memory is programmable read-only memory. They can be programmed only once by users. So they are used in custom firmware. They cannot be reprogrammed. Once they are written, they are final. Next is erasable programmable read-only memory. This memory can be erasable, but only few times. So erasable with ultraviolet light, and it is reprogrammable also, but only to a limit. Used in legacy computers and BIOS. Next is electrically erasable reusable memory. So the electric charge is used here to erase the data, and large amount of data can be restored or rewritten here in this type of memory using the electricity or electric charge. They are used in microcontrollers. Last ROM memory is flash memory, and they are block level erasures. That means they can be they are capable of erasing in block level, not bit by bit, not word by word. A blocks can be erased using in this type of memory, and they are high speed. They are used in USB drives, SSDs and smartphones. This is all about the primary memory.